Stay with me now, this is the difference between electrical and electronic engineering. And let me cook, because this one gets confused all the time. The first big one is voltage scale. Electronics generally deals about under 40 volts, and sometimes in rare cases it can go higher. But when you're working with PCBs, batteries, power sources, generally you want a small voltage. Electrical engineering works with higher voltages. Granted, not high voltages in UK standard. In the UK standard, anything under 1000 volts is considered low voltage. Electrical engineers work with 400 plus volts, which is higher than most electronics work you'll do. Electrical guys generally work with bigger areas. They'll work with higher voltages and spread them across different sections. So they might spread them across components, motors, and design the physical wiring components of where each wire is actually going to go from the power source to each small individual component along the site, which could be a house, a building, or something much larger like an airport. Electronics, however, generally work with PCBs and designing smaller projects with smaller wires, whether or not that be rubber flexible wires or PCB traces and copper tracks. They are significantly smaller scale and work with significantly lower voltage, but definitely not any easier because the smaller scale implements a lot of nuances that the higher scale just doesn't have. Electrical engineers generally work in larger areas such as utilities, rail, construction, renewables. Electronics engineers generally work in more consumer tech, products, devices, telecommunications, PCBs, any sort of relatively small physical component. Salary-wise, they're both quite compatible. There's not necessarily a winner, depending on seniority and where you are. It's more of a case of how many of each location are where you are and where you stay. Even though they're distinct, there are a lot of overlaps. There's power electronics, there's mechatronics, and these do exist on their own, but they do require both knowledge from electrical and electronic. And those are just two examples of interlinks. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, let me know because I want to keep these videos as informational as possible.